Good morning, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join me for a demonstration of our time and attendance application. This application has been mission critical for schools around the country who, like you, have implemented workplace simulation programs in their districts. Creating a workplace simulation environment involves a lot of careful planning, and having the right tools to support a successful program is essential. So today I want to show you a simple yet powerful time and attendance application that will allow you to track student attendance, print basic reports, provide a visual monitor of who is present or absent in any of the workplace classrooms, as well as give your students a workplace experience by having the responsibility of clocking in and out each day. As you can see on this screen, I have a simple clock in, clock out display. It shows the date, the time, and a field for entering an ID number. identiMetrics is a biometric identification management platform. So today I'm going to be showing you using the finger scan option. However, if you're interested in using different input device, we can discuss that as well at any point in time. So as you can see, I have a cursor flashing in the Enter ID field. I'm going to scan my finger. And you'll notice very simply, you see a clock in status for the person who scanned. Easy. If I scan my finger again, got to give it a couple seconds so that it doesn't tell me I did it too close to the time I scanned in. At the end of the day, I'm going to scan out and it will show my statistics here. Super easy to use. Let's take a little tour of what this looks like from a setup area. You would set up a way to have a manager sign in. Again, whoever the teacher is, whoever is administrating the program would have the ability to log into this screen. You'll see the basic clock in or clock out. When the administrator is done, you'd want to launch that clock in, clock out field if you were working directly on the same clock in, clock out kiosk, laptop, whatever it is that you would be using for this particular classroom. You could launch it right from the administrative page. If we take a look at some of our system options, we have our basic options here. Again, this tool is used for workplace simulation, so you could go ahead and use these naming conventions to either name your school, name the name of the workplace simulation program. Again, this is all details on how you would want this set up and how you would want this to look when you create your reports. There's time options here about how long the confirmation message should remain. Again, all different configurable options so that you can customize the experience for yourself. The security is where you're going to determine the security measures that are going to be provided for not only the students that scan in, but also anybody that would have access to this administrative screen. The terminal talks a little bit about the report printer that you're going to have associated with this particular instance at this terminal, if the terminal is going to be used for any report printing. It also has the communication set up. We can set it up in a couple of different ways, depending upon, again, the configuration that would be determined best by your group. We would work through that with you. Data source and activation. So data source is wherever your central database location is. Typically it's on a server or a central computer within your school, and all the clocks are pointing to that one central database. Not a good idea to have disparate databases, but again, always configurable, and we can do anything that would work best for you. Activation is your license. So again, some simple options here: business, time, security, terminal, data source, activation. In the system options, takes a few minutes to get these set up. Time clock reports. Couple of options here. If you want to take a look at the time clock reports, you can create your own timesheet. You can also generate a timesheet with all of the standard options that you would expect to see. You can show earnings, summary, show one employee per page. You can choose a date range, customize your date range. You can look for a specific department or room, you can also go ahead and select a specific employee and view that report. So generate timesheet report, some simple options. And again, if one is not listed for you, you typically have the option to customize it. If I take a look at the employee list by name feature, you would select a department. And within that department, you would see everybody that would be associated with that particular department or room. Really great feature that I personally love is the Who's Here monitor. I think this is extremely useful, especially in a workplace simulation environment. Classes are extremely busy. There's a lot more hands-on, there's a lot more activity, and typically more movement that's happening within a workplace classroom. So anybody would have the ability to keep this Who's Here monitor. It doesn't auto refresh. You can see down here, refresh every X number of minutes that you want. Green and red shirts are indicators of who is present and who is absent. Green shirt, you're there. Red shirt, you're not. So you could look depending upon your permission level. Okay, so maybe you are in charge of the workplace simulation environment and you want to know, where everybody is. You could have an instance of the Who's Here monitor running at your desk, and so you'd be able to peer into all the classrooms to know who's there. Or you could peer into one classroom at a time. Again, so you could look at it from the big overview, somebody wanting to know who is where at any particular time, or you could be just the teacher, kind of at a glance, just making sure if you're busy hands-on with somebody, who is there and who is not there in the classroom. Who's Here monitor. And the Who's Here report is really just going to give you a way to report on that if you needed to print something and you didn't want the visual. So clock in, clock out, we saw, that would be the student screen for scanning in and out or entering an ID in and out of a classroom. Manage system options, we went over. The configuration takes all but 10 minutes to set up. Time clock reports and managing time clock entries would be the next place that we'd like to go. This gives you the ability to modify anybody's individual records, again, permission-based. And you would have the option to go into anybody's timesheet and make any adjustments that were necessary. So how do you get everybody in here? Well, super easy. There are options here to import all of your students. Standard CSV file, we could take all the students and load them all up at once. The way that this is set up is for each individual student, you can add different pieces of information. Personal information, you could add a photo of this particular student, their address, business, again, however you would want to use that to be defined in your reports. You may or may not wish to use this. Departments could be classrooms. Departments could be the name of the program in your workplace simulation program itself. So you can have all types of different departments, if you will, that would highlight either the room number or the name of the class that particular student is attending. So that's what the department is. And every single student has to be associated with at least one department or room number. You also have the ability to, let me go back here, create how they're being paid, whether it's hourly or not. And within the department, you can set the pay rate. So, again, gives you lots of flexibility to really create a workplace simulation environment. Security, every student has an ID number. So the ID number is what will allow that student's clock in and clock out success. So they'd have to have an ID number that would be associated, or a student number associated with each of their records. And then there's permission levels that you could set for each of your employees or students from this screen as well. Again, we guide you through the whole process. We understand and we listen to each and everybody's unique, program requirements so that we can tailor the configuration, really, so that it works best for you and for your students. And there's a notes section in here if you need any to input any notes for any of your students. Close this out and go back again. So this is our manager screen. Clock in, clock out screen, setup functions, reports and managing reports, adding your employees, your student records, and then password changing if you ever needed to do that for any particular reason. So super simple, easy to use, but mission critical in that it provides the ability to track your student attendance, print basic reports, gives you a visual monitor of who is and is not in a particular classroom at any given time as well. And very importantly, giving your students a workplace experience by giving them the responsibility to clock in and clock out each time that they would enter that particular classroom. We'd love to talk to you. So if you have any questions for us, please give us a call. We can take you through this. We can answer your specific questions. And we really hope to hear from you.